Most people spend nearly 1/3 of their lives working, but here's a question few people stop long enough to ask. Is the work I'm doing helping me fulfill the purpose God's placed on my life? You have a good job, earn a respectful income, and you build a successful career, yet still feel like something's missing. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that you're ungrateful. It may mean you've reached halftime. Halftime is not the end of the game. It is the moment when you step away from the noise, study the scoreboard, evaluate the game plan, and decide what adjustments must be made before returning to the field. Today, I want to talk about how to recognize when your career no longer fits your calling and how to make a strategic professional adjustment without making an emotional decision. Because you may not need to quit your job tomorrow, but you may need to stop ignoring what God's been showing you. Number one, you've stopped growing. The first sign that you should notice is if you have stopped growing. There's a difference between being comfortable and being called. Comfort can feel good, but comfort can also become a trap. You know the job, you understand the system, you receive the paycheck, and you know exactly what to expect every morning. But deep inside, you realize you're no longer learning, stretching, or developing. Your career may still be paying you, but it's no longer preparing you. That is dangerous, because your current position should not only provide income, it should be helping develop your knowledge, skills, relationships, and character you're going to need for your next assignment. So ask yourself, am I still growing, or am I simply repeating what I know? A season of stability is not wrong, but if stability becomes stagnation, an adjustment may be necessary. Sign number two, your gifts are sitting on the sideline. The second sign is your greatest gifts are not being used. God didn't give your abilities to you by accident. Your ability to lead, teach, create, organize, communicate, solve problems, build relationships, or encourage others is all part of your stewardship. 1 Peter 4:10 tells us, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace. Your gifts weren't given to you merely for your benefit. They were given to you so you could serve others and contribute to something larger than yourself. If your career continually requires you to bury your strongest gifts, you need to pay attention. That doesn't mean automatically you should resign from your job. It may mean you need to pursue a different role, accept more responsibility, begin a side project, find a place to serve, or develop a new skill. But your gifts should not remain on the sidelines for the rest of your life is the point. At some point, you have to put them in the game. Sign number three, success no longer feels like winning. That third sign is that your definition of success has changed. Early in your career, success may have meant earning more money, receiving a promotion, gaining recognition, or reaching a certain position. There's nothing wrong with wanting to succeed, but as we mature, we begin to realize that a bigger paycheck can't fix an empty life. You can climb the ladder only to discover that it was leaning against the wrong wall. Real success is not just about how much you earn. It's also about who you become, who you serve, and what kind of impact that you make. So ask yourself, if I continue on my current path for the next 5 years, will I become the person God's calling me to become? That's a serious question. Do not measure your life only by your salary, title, or position. Look at your faith, family, health, character, influence, and sense of purpose. The scoreboard's bigger than your bank account. So sign number four, you cannot ignore the assignment. The fourth sign is an idea, an opportunity, or assignment that just keeps returning. Maybe you've been thinking about starting a business. Maybe you feel led to teach, lead, write, coach, create, serve, or move to another profession altogether. You try to dismiss it, but it keeps coming back. Not every idea is a divine assignment. Some ideas are simply distractions. That's why prayer, wisdom, counsel, and patience matter so much. But when an assignment continues to return, aligns with your gifts, serves other people, and draws you closer to God, you shouldn't ignore it. Sometimes the frustration you feel in the present position is preparing you to recognize your next assignment. Discomfort is not always a signal to leave, but it's often an invitation to listen. And finally, Sign number 5, fear is the only thing keeping you there. Fear has become the primary reason you remain where you are. You're afraid of losing a paycheck. You're afraid of starting over. You're afraid of what people may think. You're afraid that you may fail. Those are real concerns. A career adjustment should never be made recklessly. Faith is not an excuse for poor planning. Jesus taught in Luke 14 that before a person builds a tower, they should first sit and count the cost. Faith and preparation belong on the same team. But there is a difference between counting the cost and allowing fear to make the decision. Fear will always give you a reason to stay in the familiar. Faith will call you to prepare for what is possible. So, if you recognize yourself in these signs that we just went over, do not walk in tomorrow and just quit your job impulsively. Call a timeout and begin preparing. First, clarify your assignment. Ask God for wisdom. Write down your strengths, your experience, what you're interested in, your values, responsibilities, and the problems you feel called to solve. Do not begin with, what job do I want? No, begin with, who am I called to serve, and how can my gifts create value for them? Purpose becomes clearer when you connect your gifts to the needs of other people. Secondly, study the scoreboard. Take an honest look at your finances. How much debt do you have? What are your current monthly expenses? How much do you have in saving? What income would you need before making a transition? A dream without a financial plan can quickly become a nightmare. So, reduce unnecessary expenses, pay down debt, build an emergency fund, create financial breathing room. The stronger your financial position becomes, the more freedom you'll have to make a wise career decision. Third, build the bridge before you leave the shore. You don't always have to make just one giant leap. Take a course, earn a certification, develop a side business, volunteer in an area that you feel called, interview people that's already doing the work that you're thinking about doing. Test your idea with real customers and begin building relationships in the industry that you're thinking of entering. Preparation allows you to move with faith and wisdom. Do not burn the bridge until you have started building the bridge in front of you. Fourth, set a decision date without a deadline. I need deadlines, but without a deadline, preparation can become procrastination. And this is the one I fell into for a long time. Choose a date when you will evaluate your progress and make a decision. You may decide to step and approach your current position differently. You may pursue another role inside the same organization. You may begin looking for a new opportunity. Or you may realize it's time to step into entrepreneurship, own your own business. The decision may be different for each person, but you cannot remain in the locker room forever. Eventually, you have to return to the field and run the next play. So in closing, your career is an important part of your life, but it is not your identity. Your title, it can change. Your company that you're with, it can change. Your income can change. Hopefully for the better, right? Your assignment can change, but your identity and security must remain grounded in God. You are not behind, you're not washed up, and you're not necessarily starting over. You may be carrying years of experience, wisdom, relationships, victories, failures, and lessons all into a new season of life. Now that's not starting from scratch. That's starting with experience. So take an honest look at the scoreboard. Listen for God's direction. Count the cost. Prepare carefully. Then have the courage to make the adjustment. The first half may have developed you, but the second half may be where God intends to deploy you. If you feel like you are approaching halftime in your career, write this question down. What is one professional adjustment I already know I need to make? Because we all know one. Do not try to change everything today. Identify the next right move and take one step this week. If this message encouraged you, subscribe to Halftime Adjustments YouTube channel. Most importantly, share this video with someone who may be questioning the next season in their career. Remember, the game's not over. There's still time on the clock. And your next adjustment could change everything.